Hi everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at some of the basic audio information that you'll need to know about when using Vmix. We'll cover things like how to keep your microphone on at all times, how to stop hearing your own voice when you're using a microphone in your headphones or monitoring, and how to keep your audio and video in sync. We'll also be going over the Vmix audio mixer and some other audio basics. Now, as you can see in the Vmix interface, I have a USB microphone connected called audio microphone. I'm just using this blue microphone here. Now I'm going to show you the different audio settings using this mic, but first I'm going to show you how to add an audio source if you're not quite sure. So what you'll need to do is go to Add Input and then go down to Audio Input. Now from the drop-down menu, you'll be able to select the live audio source that you want to use. So for example here, we're going to select this ATR microphone, which is the Audio Technica. Now down the bottom here you'll see mute in headphones. So if you're monitoring your audio and you don't want your microphone to be heard back so you don't get confused about why you're hearing yourself, you can tick this box here. Now you can make these changes as well in the audio settings. The first thing you'll notice with the input is the bright green audio button beneath it. If the audio is on or active, for the input it will be green. If not, then it will be grey. When the audio is on, the meters next to it will appear green also. Now by default, each audio input is sent through to the master audio as well. So you'll notice that we have some monitors here, but then we also have some monitors here. Now this is where your master audio monitors are. Now if I click on the audio button, the audio won't be active and the levels next to it will turn blue. You'll also notice that there are no master audio levels as there's no audio coming from my actual input to the master. So now I'm going to show you what happens when I turn off the audio. So if I click this box here, the audio will turn off and it will not be green anymore. And then these levels will turn blue. Now they'll be blue, meaning that the audio is actually still coming from the microphone, but it's not active in our live production. You'll also notice that these bars here are removed because there's no audio going through to our master. So I'm going to turn this off now. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the audio mixer in Vmix. When you add an input into Vmix that has audio capabilities, a separate audio settings section becomes available. This includes inputs like cameras, audio inputs, video files, and websites. These settings can be found in the audio mixer section of the Vmix interface down here, which is in the bottom right. As you can see down the bottom here, I have video files, and an audio input that I'm using in this production. The audio mixer will use the same names as the input section, so you can identify the audio from the inputs easily. You can minimize the inputs just by right-clicking the titles, like so, and bring them back by right-clicking again. And you can actually undock the window by clicking the pin and pressing minimize to bring it back. So I can undock this and move it to a separate monitor if I want to. And then to bring it back, I just click the minimize. Now you can also extend this area as well by dragging this out to make it bigger for your audio mixer and your audio input settings. Now you can also close your audio mixer just by clicking on the label here. However, this isn't going to mute all of your audio, it's just making this section invisible so you've got more room for your inputs. Now in the audio mixer section, you can adjust the audio levels, you can adjust the balance, and you can monitor the audio levels for each of your inputs really easily. The mixer is where you can go to monitor and manage all of your audio in Vmix. Now we'll be coming back to the other functions on here a bit later on. There is also the ability to view and control your master audio settings right here. The master audio controls your final program output. This controls whatever goes out to the stream, record, or your external output. So you might be wondering, well, how does Vmix know when to mute something or when to make it audible? This is probably the most asked question that we get from users with audio. People want to know how to control whether their audio is always live throughout a show, like a microphone, or if it's only active when that input is being used by the output window, so for a video file or something. It's a fairly simple process, and I'm going to show you how you can do that now. By default, when you add a live audio source, the audio will always be on in Vmix. This means that you can add a microphone and be able to talk through your production, regardless of what's in the output window. In Vmix, this setting is called automatically mix audio, or in other hardware, it might be called follow audio. If we always want an input to be live, we want to make sure that it's not automatically mixing the audio. Now I'm going to show you an example of what I mean by that. So As you can see here, I've got a picture and I've got a camera, and this doesn't have any embedded audio or anything, it's just a camera. But you'll notice that my microphone down here is currently active and working. So no matter what I put here, whether I switch these, or if I add another thing to the preview, or do anything like that, the audio will always stay on from the microphone. If you add a video, camera, or audio file, by default, the audio from that input will only be active when it's in the output window. This is because you usually don't want the audio from a video file playing through your entire production. This is what we mean by automatically mixing audio. It's automatically going to mix it in with your output. So now I'm going to show you an example of how this works. So we have an intro video here that has audio, but it's not currently on. So we only want the audio for this video to be playing when it's actually being streamed or in the production. So I'm going to cut this across. And as you can hear now, the audio is on. If I cut it back, the audio turns off. Now, if you want to make changes to these behaviors, it's really simple to do so. All you need to do is open up the input settings and tick or untick the box here that says automatically mix audio. Now, this function is also available from the audio mixer. So if you notice next to my video here, if I turn this on or off, the two lines here for automatically mixing audio will turn on and off as well. So if I close this down, I can also choose to change it here as well. Now you can also access the audio settings for an input by clicking on the audio settings button here. People often ask us why there are two places to do some of the audio functions in Vmix. Well, it gives you the flexibility of managing the audio from the input section, but also on the mixer if you wanted to. Maybe your mixer's not open, or maybe it's on another monitor, so you can easily edit the audio directly from the input settings instead. You can also turn on and off an audio source from the input section by clicking on the audio button, but also using the little audio speaker in the mixer. For example, here I can turn this audio on and off here, and it will reflect those changes with this speaker here. Now we're just going to go back to the automatic audio mixing for a second. There will be some cases where you'll need to change this setting. For example, if you're using the microphone from your camera via embedded audio, and you're using that as the main audio source in Vmix, you will need to change this setting. Vmix automatically mixes cameras, so you'll need to untick the auto box. Another example is if you have an audio file that you'd like to play throughout your stream, and not just when it's in the output. You'll need to make sure that you untick the automatically mix audio box as well. So now I'm going to show you a really quick example of how that's done. So as you can see here, I've got a music file. So it's not playing. If I bring that into the preview, it's not going to play. But when I transition it to the output, it's automatically going to mix the audio to the output. So we cut it. As you can hear, you should be able to hear some music in the background now. That's because we've automatically mixed the audio. So when we switch it back, as you can see, it will turn off. Now, if you want to play that music throughout your entire live stream, you'll just need to make sure that you go through and untick the automatically mix audio box here. So now if we turn the audio on and we hit play, then you should be able to hear the music in the background regardless of what's in the output. Now I'm just going to go over a quick example of how we use our audio in our Vmix live productions for our show. Now we have two microphones that we use for our monthly live show. We have the automatic mix audio button unselected, so we can talk all the way throughout our show. Now, we also have some shortcut keys set up. So if we ever need to turn our microphones on and off manually, we can do that just in case we need to sneeze or something. So we have a button set up on our X keys to turn on and off our audio. Now, if you're still worried about whether your mic's on or off, you can keep an eye on the green audio levels in Vmix to make sure that it's moving and it's working. And you could also possibly create some activators letting you know when your mics are on or off. Now, we have some X keys set up with blue lights indicating that our mics are on, just so we don't have to worry about whether they are or not. Now, to make things even easier, we've set up triggers to turn on our microphones at the end of our intro video and then turn off when we show our outro video. That way, once we've set out our microphones, we don't have to worry about anything at all. Now we're going to go through and explain some of the other mixer features in Vmix. Okay, so we've taken a look at the audio mix button, the audio on and off button here, but above that we have a magical S button, and it stands for solo. Now it allows you to listen to an individual audio input for monitoring on headphones or speakers. This means that you can test individual audio settings without the master audio being affected. This is really good for checking something like a microphone level, as it's going to remove all the other audio and just be soloed to that microphone. Now you can even use the solo for sources that aren't being used. So any audio source in Vmix can be soloed. Now I'll be going through audio monitoring in a little bit more detail on a later video. Now the gear icon here will open up the settings screen for each input. There is an audio delay section here that will allow you to adjust your audio. If your audio and video are out of sync, then this is the place to add a delay to your audio. There are a lot of different factors that could cause your video to be delayed, so it's often important to be able to delay audio to match the video. For example, when we have our live studio set up and use the Behringer USB interface, we set a delay to 80 milliseconds. This is because the USB will arrive quicker into Vmix than the video will. If you're using an IP-based camera stream that has a lot of latency, then you may need to look at setting a delay that's something higher. So if you want to make a change, you just select this and then add in the amount of time that you want to add to your audio delay. Now down the bottom left-hand corner, you'll notice there's a set of headphones, and this allows you to control the headphone levels if you're monitoring the audio. So you can turn that off entirely, or you can adjust the level by using this knob here. The M underneath the settings here isn't a reference to a storied character in a spy novel or a film franchise. It refers to where the audio is being routed. The M underneath the input's audio lets us know that the input is being routed to the master audio. Now by default, in Vmix, all of the active audio is sent through to the master audio. You can turn off an input's audio from going to the master by clicking the little M underneath it.